Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, he's 26 years old, and recently he ended the relationship with his girlfriend of 3 years. Why, you may ask? Because she wanted a, wait for it, open relationship. You're going to see how this guy handled the situation definitely like a boss. And I don't say that very often, and this guy definitely deserved that title. You're going to see in this story, guys, how this guy has been following my work for a little while. Definitely was familiar with some of these stories where guys handle the situation right. And because of that knowledge, not only did he spot some major red flags early on and trust his gut and all that, but when she inevitably popped that question, he handled it exactly the right way. And the word meltdown, in terms of how she reacted when he handled it the way he should have and how she's been acting ever since, is definitely quite appropriate. So for all you guys here that have been burned, had gals maybe bring this thing up, treat you like crap, you know what I'm talking about. You will certainly enjoy this here and there. And this goes to show also, guys, for you guys that share your stories, that take the time to write the stories, and you never know how I'm going to react. Well, let me rephrase that. You have a very, very good idea how I'm going to react, but sometimes I'm in a better mood than others. You doing that and risking sharing your story for the world and me, you really do help guys. This really is a brotherhood here, a great community of guys helping each other out. Because the more you listen to these stories, I'm sure you're well aware there's a lot of patterns here. And so if these things ever happen to you, you know exactly what to do. And this guy did here. So sit back, grab your beer, your popcorn, whatever, your Pop-Tarts, whatever the fuck you eat or drink watching my show, and listen to this. You will enjoy this. He says, "Hello, SSM. I never thought I would be sending anyone a story from my life, but after watching a couple of your videos you posted, I felt like I had to, so I could give you, the community, comments, and the OPs my personal thanks for helping me out. There were two videos in particular that gave me the strength and clarity to do what I did with my girlfriend Cindy, a 25-year-old female, and a girlfriend of 3 years. So thank you for helping me see that I'm not alone and give me the strength to do what I had to do. Brother, you're welcome. And all you guys out there, thank you. And I'm sure the guys out there that share their stories are saying you're welcome too. The two videos in question were the wake-up call I needed to stand my ground. The first one was about a couple that were married and the wife proposed an open marriage and the husband called another lady right in front of her and set up a date. Wow, just wow. I hope that guy has some strong underwear to hold those titanium nuts he's carrying around. The second video was the one about the guy that found out his wife was cheating on him after hiring a PI, and the second he found out, he stopped talking to her at all and she went crazy. It was powerful and really hit a nerve with me. I spent a lot of time wondering how I would have reacted in those situations, and admittedly, I wouldn't have had the strength or will to do those things that the men did. At least you can admit it. Those guys were legends, and yes, I remember those videos, especially the first one about the guy that made the date right in front of her. In fact, I think I'm still promoting that as when anybody comes to the channel that's new, we'll see that video there because they're so popular. That hands down, one of the best ones of 2022. He says, Cindy and I have been dating for about 2.5 years when the first real issue happened. And I think it was that moment that my eyes opened up a little wider. We both have our own places, but spend a lot of time together. We both work in similar career fields, but for different reasons, or in different companies. It was one of those things that we had in common when we first met. It was nice to have someone in my life that I could talk to about not only my personal life, but one who also understood my professional life. Yeah, that definitely helps. So a lot of times people in the medical field get together, or people that are attorneys get together, and so on and so forth. The first real red flag that happened was at my place after dinner one evening while we were watching a series that we normally enjoy. Normally we would talk with each other throughout the show, sharing our thoughts, but on that particular night, she spent most of her time texting back and forth with someone and not paying attention to the show. A red flag. If all of a sudden she's glued to her phone all the time, guys, texting away, looking at things when that's not her normal behavior, that's a sign. One you have to pay attention to. When I asked her who was she talking to, she seemed a bit startled, but said it was only one of her coworkers, and they were talking about a project they were working on together. At night. Now, I know since COVID happened, boundaries from employers have gone way of the dodo. Okay, there was a time and place that you wouldn't be contacted about work after 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, or certainly on a weekend. But nowadays, nobody has any fucking respect. I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that. But still, it's suspicious. She didn't say who the coworker was, and I didn't ask because I occasionally text my own coworkers. If not for the smile that she was wearing when they were texting, I might have believed her. I didn't push it, but decided to keep my eyes open. I've been watching your channel for a little more than a year at this point, and I wasn't certain if this was an indication that there was a problem or if it was my own paranoia. Well, if she's texting away, that's not normal behavior for her, and she's smiling the whole time when she's texting, what does that say? I don't know any work project that gives someone a smile that much unless they found out they're making a whole lot of money from the project through a bonus or something. Or they really enjoy who they're talking to. Over the following 3 weeks, her behavior stayed the same. When we were together, she would get random texts from someone and then check out whatever we were doing to spend 30 minutes or more texting back and forth, and when I asked, she would just say it was her coworker and they're working out details of their project. I was starting to get a bad feeling because in the previous 2.5 years, this had never happened before. The phone is one of the most key things. The texting, her immediately having to be on it, hiding out in her bedroom or the bathroom, her guarding it like Gollum guarding the freaking ring, that type of thing. Something's up. Yes, people will exchange messages with their coworkers and all that. It does happen, but it ain't right. Something's wrong. This time, I asked who the coworker was, and she said that he was just a friend from work, and they were talking about their job. How many guys have heard that whole song and dance before? I'm not sure if it was my gut screaming at me that something was off, or the fact that even when we were together, she was spending more time talking to him. But I knew that whoever this guy was, it wasn't going to end well for me. So I told her that I didn't appreciate that she was spending so much time talking to him, and asked her if there was something going on that I needed to be worried about. She was swearing that nothing was going on and apologized for what it might look like and promised to stop spending so much time talking to him. Well, good for you for speaking up. A lot of guys wouldn't have the balls to do that. I'm surprised she didn't start labeling you insecure or controlling at this point. But you're on to her, and she knows it. Now watch how these things progress. Over the next couple weeks, she was true to her word because she knew you had her number. She wasn't spending all of our time talking to him, but she was acting a bit distant. By that time, my something's going on. He wrote this wrong. By that time, something was going on that I'm not going to like. Good Lord, how do you write this? Bro, you messed this sentence up. By that time, my something's going on that I'm not going to like. Radar was going crazy. I get it now. I knew her mood. I knew her moods, and it was like she was sulking. It was nearly a month later that we had our first big argument in our entire relationship. We were hanging out on a Thursday evening when she casually mentioned that she was going to go to lunch on this coming Saturday with her coworker so they could talk about their project, and asked if I was okay with it. Bullshit. On a Saturday? I don't think so. No. Whatever it is, it can be done during the work week, not on a Saturday. That's called a freaking date. Bullshit. Here come the sirens. They're coming for me. They got that guy in Romania, now they're after me. I'm pretty sure that was the moment that I knew our relationship wasn't going to last. I told her, sure, you can go as long as I can come with you. I don't think that was what she expected, and said that they were just going to be talking about their work, and asked why I didn't trust her. Why you don't trust her? Already things are being twisted around that you're the bad guy here because your behavior has changed dramatically. That's why I don't trust you. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's why I don't trust you. And because of SSM, I don't trust you. I never brought up anything about trust while everything was going on previously, and I told her I did trust her. She said if I trusted her, I wouldn't have a problem with her having lunch with him. I told her I was not okay with my girlfriend going on dates with other men, and if she's going to start dating other men, I was going to start dating other women, and she was speechless for a few minutes. She didn't expect that one. Then she said that I sounded insecure and accused me of not trusting her. There you go. We can all see this coming a mile away. You're insecure. You're controlling. You don't trust me. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You are behaving in a way to cause me not to trust you. And that's not insecurity. And that's not controlling. But hey, okay, you want to go on your work date with him? Then fine. We don't have to be in a relationship anymore. And I'm going to go fuck your sister. I told her it had nothing to do with insecurity or trust. It was about respect, and repeated that if she was going to go on dates with men that weren't me, I would do the same. Then she said I was acting controlling, and I told her that I wasn't forcing her to be in a relationship with me, and that she was a grown woman that could make her own decisions. If she didn't want to be with me, there was nothing stopping her from breaking up. Well done, my man. Good for you. She started crying, shocker, and told me how much she loved me and didn't want to break up. Long story short, she didn't go to that lunch with him, but I could tell she was angry. Yeah, her feelings ain't going anywhere, and there's obviously something going on at this point. And really good job handling that. I personally, knowing what I know, living longer than you, I would have been done. Because, as you're going to see, guys, his gut telling us something was wrong, amongst many other things, was quite accurate here. After that conversation, things seemed to go back to normal, but she was still acting a bit distant. Her best friend Nellie, a 30-year-old female, is married, and we spent a lot of time with her and her husband, Christopher, 31-year-old male, over the years. I like Chris, but we don't have a lot in common, other than our ladies being best friends. Well, I wouldn't call your ex-girlfriend a lady. We would go out dancing sometimes and always have a good time, but mostly we would spend time at their place hanging out. The one thing that Chris and I had in common was like to play video games, while Cindy and Nellie would hang out and gossip. It was on one of those evenings that I got a pretty big shock. Chris and I were in his man cave playing something on PlayStation 5, and we had been playing for about an hour before he abruptly got up and said he had to go. I asked him if he and Nellie had someplace to be, and he said that he had a date, and apologized for leaving, but said feel free to raid his minibar and enjoy the game. A date? I thought he's married. Huh. Her friend is in an open relationship or open marriage? Gee, what could go wrong? I asked him what was he talking about. From what I understood, he and Nellie had been together for nearly 5 years, and I thought they were happy. Then he dropped a hammer on me. He said they were in an open relationship and had been throughout their relationship. I'm fairly certain that I had a look of shock on my face, and he started laughing because he told me how great it was and how secure their relationship was, that they didn't have to hold each other back from exploring their own happiness. But why the hell are they together? Now, clearly, because I've read this, obviously, they started their relationship like that. Both of them were into that lifestyle. And that is the only situation where these things might work. But to somebody just springing on somebody else, never works. So then he blew my mind and said that it was the best relationship he's ever had, and that it was liberating to be able to communicate and be completely open and honest with Nellie, and she with him. Then he said I should think about it before saying that Nellie thought I was handsome and he wouldn't have a problem if she wanted to explore something with me. Are you fucking kidding me? This is my girlfriend's best friend. You're telling me that I believe it's his wife, thinks I'm handsome and should explore hooking up with her? No. I'm not having anything to do with you fucking people. I went from shock to complete revulsion. He left to get ready for his date, and after leaving me feeling like I didn't know these people at all. Cindy had never mentioned that her best friend and her husband were in an open relationship. I guess it's not something that would come up in polite conversation, but in private. It was something that she could have shared with me. We spent a considerable amount of time with these people, and what Chris told me, I felt completely repulsed to even see them as friends. Maybe I'm too strict in my thinking, but I would no sooner want to hang out with swingers or open relationship people than I would want to hang out with drug dealers. So all this time you didn't know. I guarantee you, your girlfriend knows. And what I tell you guys about girls and their friends, they're going to rub off on them. So if you got a girl and her friends are a bunch of swingers and they're cheaters or do open relationships, it's only a matter of time before it's going to rub off on her, and she's going to think it's a great idea and bring it up to you, or do things behind your back and then bring it up to you. What do you think it could be? After Chris left, I wasn't really in the mood to continue playing the game that we've been playing and ended up getting a little drunk while thinking about the new revelation that these people that I had spent hanging out with over the last several years were not the people I thought they were. I probably should have stayed away from the alcohol, but I'm not perfect. I ended up joining Cindy and Nellie in the living room after Chris had left, and they were talking about one of the shows that we all watch. I think I might have stayed for about an hour before I had the urge to go home, so I told them I wasn't feeling very well and was going to call a taxi to go home before asking if it was okay to leave my car until I come home and get it the following day. Cindy offered to drive me home. Is this the open relationship girl that finds him handsome? Imagine that. But I declined and said I would be fine. I think she could tell something was off and insisted that she drive me home, so I reluctantly agreed. On the ride home, she was asking what was wrong. While I wanted to bring up what I found out, for some reason I didn't want to talk about it. There was no doubt that she knew about the relationship, and I had no idea why she wouldn't have told me. Maybe it was because it was a private matter, and she didn't think it was her place to say anything. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because honestly, if it were my best friend, I'm not sure if I would ever have shared that with people I didn't know either. So interesting how she was very aggressive to give this guy a ride home. And it's interesting also that he finds out from this dude they're in an open marriage, and he suddenly had to leave at about the same time that she suddenly had to give this guy a ride home. Did she have an idea in her head? Was she leaving because what's his wife doing? And what's this guy doing? One asked a question. It was a few weeks after that day that brings me to the end of my story. Cindy and I were hanging out at her place on Sunday afternoon when she was talking about how happy Chris and Nellie were and how much she envied their relationship. For you guys that watch me often, you can see what's coming. She said that someday, when she gets married, she hoped that she would have the same trusting and loving relationship that her friend had. When she said that, I started thinking about all the times over the years that she had mentioned how much she envied Nellie's relationship and how she hoped that someday she would be able to find a man that loved her as much as Chris loved Nellie. At that time, I thought this was just a best friend being happy for her fortune and her relationship and never gave it much thought. Yeah, how often do you have a girl that's so happy that another girl is so successful and happy? I don't know, not a whole lot. Looking back, I'm not really surprised at how that afternoon went. We were talking about our future and our relationship, but out of the blue, Cindy told me she wanted to tell me about Nellie and Chris's relationship. What could she possibly have to tell him that he doesn't already know? She then proceeded to tell me that they were in an open relationship and emphasized how happy they were that each of them could be completely fulfilled with each other and other people. The longer she talked, the more I started thinking about the videos I watched in your channel. Isn't it amazing? The similarities in these stories? Good Lord. The one thing kept ringing in my mind was that if she was talking about an open relationship, the odds were that she was already cheating, and with the episode with her coworker previously, I was fairly certain about who it was with. I don't know if this has happened to other guys, but my entire body went numb, and any love I had for Cindy evaporated the second she suggested that an open relationship was a good thing. It's not uncommon, man. It happens. Some guys are either heartbroken and it feels like their stomach was kicked by a mule, or like that. They go numb and any love or feelings is gone. You're one of them. I sat there for about 20 minutes while she talked about all the positive aspects of that type of relationship, and it was like listening to the teacher in Charlie Brown cartoon. All I heard was wah, 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 wah. It was that moment that I remembered the video where the guy just stopped talking to his wife and drove her crazy, and there was no doubt left in my mind that my relationship was over. It's because it is over, bro. I know you know this, and I'm sorry this happened to you, because you wasted 3 fucking years of your life with this asshole. I got up from the couch without saying a word and started walking around her apartment, gathering up the few things that I had there. As soon as I got up, I could see the panic in Cindy's eyes, and she was following me around trying to talk to me as I gathered my things. It took about 20 minutes, and I didn't even bother looking at her. By the time I made it to her front door, she was crying and begging me to say something to her, that she didn't understand what was going on. You don't understand what's going on. You're saying you want to go F other dudes. You're saying that I wasted 3 years of my life with you. You're saying you want me to be able to go hook up with other women, even though knowing darn well he, the guy telling the story, is not going to have as ease of getting partners as you're going to have. So what the hell is there to say? And quit crying in your waterworks, because it's not going to work. When I made it to my car, Cindy was crying and trying to grab my arm and trying to get me to talk to her. The last thing I did before I got in and drove home was to just stare at her, and I'm pretty sure the contempt I had in my face would have been easy to see. Before I closed my door, she was in a complete meltdown, saying that she wasn't serious and begging me to talk to her. That was the last time I saw her face to face. Nice job, bro. I'm sure it wasn't easy doing that because, you probably wanted to yell at you and say a lot of things I'm not going to say here on this channel, and it would have been warranted. But the silence, that's even worse. That makes them freaking nuts, as you've heard in these stories. She spent the next month trying to get me to talk to her, saying that it was a mistake, and even suggested an open relationship, but I never responded to her. She broke me. I gave her 3 years of my life, and in the end, my reward was her telling me that I wasn't enough for her. Yeah, and she freaking insults your intelligence by saying that she didn't mean it, or something like that. Bullshit. And by the way, we all know darn well, as these stories go, they've already cheated. This is just a way to give them permission to cheat. She's a piece of garbage. She doesn't deserve you. It was a few days after I left her apartment that Chris came by to talk to me and to see reason and why he told. I'm going to read that again. It was a few days after I left her apartment that Chris came by to talk to me to see reason, and what he told me only twisted the dagger even more. Remember what I said earlier about that dude? He said that Cindy told he and his wife that I had already agreed to an open relationship and he had already slept with her. That fucking snake. They're both fucking snakes. I told him that until the day he mentioned to me that he was going out on a date, that I had no idea that he and his wife were living that lifestyle. He tried to apologize for not knowing and tried to convince me to give Cindy an open relationship a chance before I told him it would be best to be left or I wouldn't be responsible for what I did to him sleeping with my girlfriend. Even after he made it clear he didn't know about this shit, this guy was still trying to... You heard that there. Good freaking Lord. You assholes can all have each other, because I'm done with you fucking people. That all happened about 3 months ago, and Cindy has tried to get me to talk to her, but I just feel broken and betrayed. Maybe those relationships work for other people, but the fact is that it was all based on lies before I was even given any consideration, has left me doubting that a monogamous relationship is even possible. I'll probably never know if she was doing something with her coworker, but after everything else, I could never trust her to tell me the truth. So here I am, wasting 3 years of my life and racked with questions I'll never get answers to. I have no idea what Cindy is doing now, and I seriously doubt I could ever trust a single word that comes out of her mouth. That's because her mouth is too full with other dudes' dicks. At last, Chris and Nellie have stopped trying to talk to me. For now, I think I'm going to try and rebuild my identity without Cindy being a part of it. I'm heartbroken and feel such great sense of loss that I'm pretty sure will taint any future relationships. I guess the only silver lining is that going silent and never responding to her at all seemed to really F with her head. I guess we take whatever victories we can, no matter how small. So there you go, guys. While on the one hand, this is obviously, he handled this great, and we can all applaud that, still, he's heartbroken. 3 years of his life. And this selfish asshole, what she did to him. Lord knows how long she was cheating on him. He thought everything was great. At least that's what I got from this story. And now he's healing. But I'll say this to the brother that wrote this in. You will heal. It will get better with time. But you're 26. 3 years with her, that's a significant amount of time. And it does take time to get over that stuff. Even though you were numb when she brought up that whole thing, it's going to take time because people's identities start becoming wrapped up with the person they're with. But my suggestion is, as I say to all the brothers, take it one day at a time. It will get better in time. Focus on yourself, focus on your goals, hanging out with your true loyal friends, your good family members. Work out. If you do work out, continue working out. If you don't work out, join a gym. Get some exercise. You will feel better. Focus on yourself. You're 26 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. Okay, I'm I know you're in your career, so work hard at moving up in that career, making more money, putting money away. Self-improvement is key, and you will feel better as you're moving throughout your life, rising in the world. I want all guys to do everything they can to better themselves because they're going to feel better about that, not tolerate bullshit in their lives. And as for relationships, I wouldn't even bother thinking about that, and I'm sure you're not for a very long time. But yeah, welcome to today's world. Welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, as I call it, because that's what it is. Open relationships, open marriage, that bullshit. It would have been one thing if you started the relationship with her and she brought it up from the get-go you started dating. Then you know what you were dealing with. But instead, she decided to be a snake and cheat on you behind your back and then bring it up. And it's amazing to me, like I've mentioned this in other videos, I'm seeing easily 2 or 3 times a week articles involving open relationships, open marriages, being discussed and promoted on mainstream media. So that's how fucked up this whole thing is. And these are going to be the same gals as more and more guys better themselves and become aware of these things and how they don't work and have some freaking self-worth and kick these girls to the curb. These same girls that brought up these open relationships and thought it was a great idea are going to be crying their eyes out that no guy wants them, or they lost their relationship because they watched some idiot on TikTok promote open relationships. I read some article in Cosmo or something on a mainstream media talking about this and blame them, not themselves, for ruining their relationship. But you did the right thing, man, and I love how you didn't say a word to her because that made her freaking crazy. And she's now going to obsess over you. You may not hear from her for a while, but eventually I guarantee you'll hear from her at least one more time. She might show up at your work or something like that and try to get you to talk to her, and she was so wrong and blah, blah, blah. Don't fall for it. Do not do it. If that happens, think of me. Think of the brotherhood here. What we would do, we found out you took her back. Don't fucking do it. She's trash. She's a liar. She's deceitful. No. You're a good man. Take it day by day, and you're going to be all right. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think about this. Give him some praise. Give him a shout out for how he handled this like a boss. But also, let's give him some encouragement that things are going to be okay and he'll work on himself. And for any of you guys out there that have been cheated on or anything like that, say what you got to say to this guy, because believe me, he's going to read every single comment, and it will help him move along and help him get over her. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.